In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms or conventions of real media products? So our song choice. We chose an indie alternative song from indie artist Sia Furler. We chose the song Free the Animal due to the beat of the song, which we thought fits the style of editing we wanted to explore and the narrative. We used YouTube to research songs from indie artists such as Paris, Gabrielle Aplin, Churches, and Sia, and then found that Sia's song Free the Animal would be better for the style of editing. Conventions of indie music videos. After doing some research, we found that indie music videos are usually made on a low budget. The artists are the main focus, which creates iconography. They have a unique style. It's very simple. They have a big narrative, this being key. Some indie music videos make use of live performances, close-up shots of the artist. Emotion is usually conveyed through the narrative. Costumes are very simple, and low-key lighting is used. After doing some research, we found that indie is not a set genre, and therefore making it hard to actually find conventions of it. We found that indie can be narrowed down to indie pop, indie rock, and indie alternative. This is why we were able to focus more on indie alternative in order to narrow down the conventions. How our music video conforms. We have conformed to Andrew Goodwin's music video theory by having some symbolism between the music lyrics and the visuals. For example, the lyrics of our song, such as "The pressure builds, wanna put my hands through you," and "I'll squeeze you tight until you take your last breath." These lyrics influence our decision of basing our narrative around an individual who tries to fight the inner animal while struggling with others around her who are preventing this. By having these lyrics, we're able to convey this through the cinematography and the imagery on the screen. Using a hospital scene creates a tense atmosphere which sets the tone of the music video, as the audience is constantly reminded of how the protagonist feels trapped and is unable to free themselves. Narrative. Our music video conforms through the use of a strong narrative which conveys a relative meaning, which is key with indie music videos. We took inspiration from Panic at the Disco, This is Gospel. This has a similar approach that we took, as the protagonist is under the power of those superior to him and tries to free himself. This symbolizes escapism. A hospital setting has been used with the use of low-key lighting and different camera angles. Although this is not an indie music video, and however it is a rock video, the video itself doesn't conform to the conventions of a rock music video, as it is heavily based around narrative. Rock music videos are usually live performances, so this itself subverts from the conventions of a rock music video. Our music video took the same concept, and we set up our own hospital scene by making use of props such as studio lights and medical equipment. This is very simple and cheap to create. This therefore conforms to the conventions of indie music videos, as it's usually made on a low budget. This particular scene of our music video creates mystery. It creates a lot of emotion as you see the protagonist is trying to free herself, and we've made use of low-key lighting. Emotion and location. Emotion is a key part in the indie genre. However, it is starting to become more popular in other genres. In conveying emotion, we conform to the conventions, as it makes the audience sympathetic towards the protagonist and also creates a sense of verisimilitude. These are shots taken from our music video, and as you can see, our protagonist shows a lot of emotion and anger as she's trying to free herself. We are inspired by music videos such as Aurora Running with the Wolves, which is an indie song. This has a similar approach that we took, as the protagonist is trying to escape her current situation. This is conveyed through the use of close-up shots and wide shots. Wide shots is very effective as it shows her surroundings and how she's isolated from the rest of the world. We also took inspiration from Years and Years' Shine, which is another indie song. We were hugely inspired by the location of which the video was shot. It creates a sense of isolation and perhaps loneliness and makes the protagonist seem apart from society. This is shown through shots of the protagonist in an isolated place with the use of smoke and minimal lighting, but just lighting on the protagonist. This makes him stand out and suggests that he is the most important part in the music video. This once again conforms as the artists of indie music videos are usually the center of attention. This is how we applied the inspiration to our music video. How we subverted. By looking and focusing mainly on music videos outside the indie genre, we were able to challenge and experiment with techniques which are not normally used in indie music videos. We were inspired by Calvin Harris's How Deep Is Your Love. This is a pop song which made use of a range of editing techniques such as changing saturation, jerk shots, and quick-paced editing. We developed this idea by overlaying several clips on top of one another and changing the saturation in order to make our music video more interesting. So these are shots taken from our music video in which we developed the concept of Calvin Harris's How Deep Is Your Love. How we subverted. First of all, we made use of a wide range of camera angles and shots, which is something that is not seen in an indie music video. This is also due to the fact that our song has a quick tempo, thus ensuring that we had to edit to the beat. So these are shots taken in which we experimented with a wide range of shots and angles, rather than a normal indie music video, which usually just has one or two shots. Although we did partly conform to the setting convention, which is easy to access for the hospital scene, we created our own set. This therefore makes it hard because it subverts the stereotype, as it was not easy to go back and refilm, as we would have had to recreate the setting. So these are images taken. As you can see, we had to set up our own setting and our own scene by using props. So this makes it very hard, as if we did have to refilm anything, we would have to set it up again. So therefore, we subverted by making this quite hard for ourselves and making it a bit complex compared to how an indie music video would have been done. Our narrative held back a lot of information from the audience, which leads our audience to go and do more research in order to find out information. We also made use of a lot of handheld shots, which makes it more realistic for the audience. And lastly, our music video is not in chronological order due to having flashes of scenes that the audience has already seen. This creates flashbacks and tension, as it makes the audience feel uncomfortable and at the edge of their seats. Other videos that we were inspired by and helped us subvert: Taylor Swift style. We were greatly influenced by the overlapping of images to create a double exposed shot, an image. Panic at the Disco, Emperor's New Clothes. The jerked shots and quick paced editing to the beat of this music video was what we were inspired by. In conclusion, we have both conformed and subverted from the conventions of a real indie media product to produce a music video which suits our chosen song very well. From the start, we decided not to conform to the indie genre, but rather challenge the conventions in order to create a music video which stands out. If it was a real media product, we would want the music video to get around through word of mouth to gain more publicity. However, we still had elements of the indie genre included in our music video so that it would succeed in the industry.